The door's about to rock. All right, guys, welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Vicki Parker. I'm Dr. Scott from Sixth Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club. And like I said, Vicki Parker is joining us today, and I'm very excited because I've known Vicki for a fair few years now, and she is a health coach. She's amongst other things, but more importantly, I'm looking forward to the gold nuggets of information that you've got, Vicki, and also for the audience, and that we appreciate your time. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having
me. So, Vic, I'll start off with my normal question. So tell us, what gets you out of bed every morning?
You know, this is such a great question, Scott, because when you first think about it, you go, oh, God, what gets me out of bed? You know, it's daylight. I've got to get up. And then when you sort of really sit and think with it, and I asked a few people, to be honest. I actually did a bit of a poll, and it was quite interesting what people said. But for me, life just is interesting every day. I've got lots of things to learn. I've got so much more personal development to do, so much growth, connecting with people, just improving. So every day is like, yep, there's so much to be done. I've got to get up and get going. So it's probably really about just being part of the community and connecting with people and learning and growing and having a purpose in life, having
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Because because that's important to the community as well. And yeah, it's a look within to look out. So I get it. I absolutely get it.
Every day's different, right? Every day is different. You don't know what's going to be thrown up at you. Challenges or fun.
It'd be boring if it was the same old, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would.
People are going to go stir crazy. Oh, they already are. I was going to say, so I'll just go by your LinkedIn profile, and you've got a fair bit here. You're a nutrition coach offering women long-term wellness, health and lifestyle transformation without deprivation. I do things through programs, products, and coaching. So what the hell got you into that?
Well, I think the passion for health comes from my father, goes way back, who had a heart attack in his 40s, early 40s, arteries clogged to the max. The doctor said, you've got the arteries of an 80-year-old. And if you don't do something, you'll be dead in, 6 months or something. And when my father said to him, so Doc, what are we going to do? The doctor said, we're not going to do anything. He said, you're going to learn how to eat properly. And that sent my father on a trajectory for the next, he lived another 50 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he died at 91. He didn't die of a heart attack. So I grew up with a father that was very proactive health-wise. So that kind of is the grounding for me. He was just doing things way ahead of his time, wheatgrass, distilled water, sunshine, vitamin D, all this sort of stuff, way before anyone else was doing it. And so that's kind of where I think the passion or the interest started, because it was sort of embedded in my childhood and growing up years. But then, so I was always a little bit different to my friends, always eating things that they went, that's way too green, there's way too much green stuff on that sandwich. But what happened is, hang on, have I lost you? Dan, hang on, I'm here. I've just had, my computer just went to sleep on me. Can you believe it? Anyway, about 20 so years ago, my husband joined a network marketing company. It was, by chance, a nutrition supplement company. And I was not really that interested necessarily in that product range or that business, but I got exposed to a lot of information. And when I started finding out about the ethics and also learning more about nutritional products, about health, it was so aligned with my mission, I guess, my values and my ethics, my values, and really my purpose in life. So that sent me in a different direction. I was working for corrective services. I was a parole officer. And, that was so this was sort of like an interest running alongside my career. And when I left my career 8 years ago, I decided that, this is where I wanted to put my energy and time. And so, I've continued my studies. I've done a, certification. I'll be doing more studies just to keep learning, because it's constantly changing. Even though the basics are foundational, they're pretty standard, there's still so much learning about how our health is affected by our environment and the foods we eat.
But I've actually interviewed someone else that worked for the department of what she called the injustice. Was the same sentiment?
I came at from a different angle. Like when you come from really the profession of working in the community with people who have been caught up in the criminal justice system or commit crime. Yes, I get it. I get what she's saying, but I guess our focus was really about how do you help people exit that trajectory.
Yeah.
Help them move forward. So yeah, it's a complicated area, really. Yeah.
She was a case manager, and she helped them assimilate back into the society, and that was the similar role that you did, or?
Yeah, well, see, I started in the 80s, right? So I have.
Yeah, so she.
It was a different animal than it is now.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, totally different.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that for?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
So you saw the animal change a lot.
Oh yeah, and particularly because when the 80s was, it was you were a lot more autonomous. You had a lot more. There wasn't, just as computers came in, more accountability came in. It kind of changes the focus of the work, and you end up becoming quite computer bound at the end. But I worked in the Northern Territory. I worked in Queensland. I worked in the UK.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, there's politics obviously involved in it, but it was a fantastic career because you're working with people, you're working with allied health agencies, people, organisations, trying to surround people to try and make change. Yeah, but I have to say the prison system, I have some thoughts around that. I won't go into it.
Well, you went 30 years, and you went to different countries too.
Yeah,
so you would have seen different methods as well.
It was interesting in the UK. They were really still stuck in a very welfare model, and it was so fascinating because the US was driving a lot of the change. Australia had moved a lot towards the US, and then the UK was kind of between the two. Like they were sort of where we used to be, and they weren't quite where the US was. And it was fascinating to see that and how people work. But I really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, very different.
And different reasons why people offend, right? Oh, gosh, yeah. Anyway, it was fascinating.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because of the different systems in place, that's why.
And just what's happening in a country, like culturally. But anyway, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So your husband got into a nutrition. You said nutrition business.
Well, he got into network marketing as a way to get himself out of the industry he was working in. He wanted to have better time life balance, right? He just wanted income to work ratio. Oh, sorry, I don't know why this just keeps. I'll have to keep touching this. For some reason, it keeps going to sleep, which is not normal. So he was looking for an income stream, another way of working, that he wasn't working, long hours and 7 days a week. And so he got into that. And, I'm a reader. I'm a big reader. So I read a lot of the information around that. And then I got involved in learning and then started taking the supplement. And that was a big, I had such a significant health improvement. So
Yeah.
I just had niggly little health problems, but they started to go away.
Yeah.
And I just realized, wow, this is one of the missing links, right, in just feeling good.
Yes, and it's interesting that you see your story is very similar to mine. It was different in some ways, but it's very similar because it was a sibling that had a serious event and but that ended their life. But it's the same for you. The same thing. You watched your father turn his life around, and you lived another 50 years. Wow, that's crazy. 40 years, sorry.
Well,
50 years, right? 50,
yeah,
50
is
years.
another 50? Yeah.
Yeah, 50 years. So, and you saw that change. And it's the same for me. It was no different. I had to change the way that I lived my life because I was caught up just like everyone else and didn't realize what I was doing to myself like everyone else. And you have to turn it around. If you don't, then, like you said, you just feel like crap all the time. And then you start to feel good. You go,
Well,
all I have to do is maintain this.
I know. And if you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good. That's what I think.
Right.
I think a lot of people
absolutely.
don't know how bad they feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that comes back to what we're taught and what we're told, and that's all mindset. And I liked what you said at the start. You said that I've got to work on myself and my mindset, and it was one of the first things you said. I thought, well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then I call it the ditch. You run it, you fall into the ditch, and it keeps getting deeper, and then you can't see over the top of it.
It's so
And you don't know
true.
what it's
It's
like.
so true. Yeah. And actually, that's Scott. That's where that is the kernel of where my passion lies, because I wasn't deep into the ditch, but I couldn't. I knew I was looking for ways to get out of the ditch, like I was getting into a ditch, just because that's what happens. Like, even though I was making a real effort around my health, there was some missing elements to it, and I didn't know what they were, and it took me a while to find it. And now I feel like I've got a more holistic view. That's what I want to share with people, like this much broader view. And acupuncture and the things that you do is a big part of that recovery and wellness and maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, this is the way I explain the difference, because it's a different strategy. It's the same for you with your health approach. It'd be very similar to what I'm just about to explain.
Okay.
Conventional medicine was created on a battlefield.
Yes, I've heard you say that before. Fascinating.
Well, because it was not easy to do surgery on someone while they're trying to fight you.
Yeah.
Then they realized, if we use morphine, which is something we already naturally produce as a drug, they created a drug that mimics what we already produce.
Yeah.
And morphine, and they realized, if we use that, we can knock them out, and then we don't have to worry about them trying to hit us while we're cutting them open. And then they realized, what's the use of doing the surgery in the first place if they're going to die 3 days later from infection? So then they realized that if you can use antibiotics, penicillin, to stop the infection. So then they live for a little bit longer. So it's totally different strategy. That's what they're really good at. They're really good at putting you back together. That's what they're really good at.
Yeah.
They're magic at it. I've seen it firsthand. I actually have seen that live, many times, hundreds of times, because I worked in a hospital system.
Right.
Now, with the Chinese medicine is totally different. It's more. It was created in the emperor's court.
Yeah.
So the emperor's physician, because he had to look after everyone, including the emperor, he had to look after everyone in that court. So he had to make sure that the emperor was fertile. He had to make sure that he was virile. Yeah. He had to make sure that he was well enough to go and lead his armies into battle. And he had to deal with his stress every day because everyone's trying to kill him. Go figure.
Yeah.
And so he had to try and keep him calm. He had to, and they drank lots of wine in those days, so they usually had kidney and liver diseases in those days. Didn't really have much cardiovascular, but eventually it did because the kidneys are starting to fail, and then they get cardiovascular disease from it. So they had to make sure that they could prevent that from happening. So they had to, they had to make sure that that they didn't die from psoriasis or kidney failure. So and then also the concubines, they had to make sure that they had a huge family. They had to make sure that they were fertile, and because your power was measured by how many heirs you had. So you had to make sure that, and had to make sure that the guards were able to look after the emperor and everyone in the court, because these have to be the elite soldiers. They're the number one. So he had to make sure that everyone was great. He had to make sure that the ministers, because some of them had to travel a month to get to him.
Yeah, a lot of responsibility on this health practitioner.
Yeah, absolutely. And he lost his head if he didn't get a result.
Yeah, terrified. Yeah.
So you think about it. You're sitting on a cart for a month trying to get to the emperor, and then you got to stay there for a week or two, then go back for a month on a cart. So he had to make sure that everyone was healthy, that came in and out of the court, and it's a different strategy. It's more abundance. It's more about abundance and longevity
and prevention, right? It's also
absolutely.
about preventing anything. Yeah. And also, it's more of a body systems sort of approach, right? Like how things work with each other, and what do I need to do to influence this? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we don't break it up. It's all one. Yeah. It's no different. Yeah. They all coincide with each other, whereas conventional medicine has broken it up. That's why they have specialties. Yeah, you specialize in neurology, and I specialize in oncology, and see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's exactly the same for you. It's no different. You think of it from the bigger picture. You think of it from a longevity and abundance mentality.
And also I think learning to listen to the body, right? So you can, like if you're in tune to your body, and you're listening to the messages it gives you, you can work out what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, or what might be missing. You may not know it for sure because you're not haven't worked that out, but that's one of the most significant, in my personal in my own personal journey, and also when I'm working with people, it's like learning to listen. What's your body telling you? Because my body and your body are totally different. We have different needs. What stresses you won't stress me, and vice versa. And how much sleep you need might be slightly different to how much I need. And not to be caught up in somebody else's journey. It's mine. This is what I need, and this is what I'm giving myself. So, yeah,
absolutely, yeah, and that comes back to empowering. But this is the problem: empowering yourself to have the knowledge to know what you need to do for yourself.
Yes,
there is a saying in Chinese medicine: there is a cure for every disease. You just got to find it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. And how marvelous it is. Yeah, when you find a good practitioner, that's the holy grail. Someone to help you.
But also in Chinese medicine, we try to help the patient go back to their own home and then put the information that we give them into practice. So, and like you said, you're a nutritionist. This is 101. This should be every physician's first tool. What did you eat today?
Yeah. Or what didn't you eat? Yeah.
Well, what did you eat?
Yeah. That's usually it. I just want to clarify something, because I know people get this a bit confused sometimes. And just so I'm really transparent, I'm not a nutritionist. So a nutritionist is someone who can actually prescribe, specific supplements and treatment courses, right? And meal plans and stuff. No, that's okay. No, it's good, because people interchange it. And I just don't want to mislead anyone. So nutrition coaching is more about helping people identify goals, what's important to them, and then what's a pathway forward and then obviously using my experience and my knowledge, and and I do use supplements, right? Because I actually, and I know you do too. You use specific ingredients, which I was so excited when I actually saw some of the stuff you had in your clinic years ago, but it's more and more, that's kind of more general, whereas a nutritionist is going to be very specific. So just that's about guiding, accountability, goal setting, prioritizing, and working through a pathway forward with little tweaks and hints and direction. And also, I like to work with other practitioners. Like, I really like to surround myself with acupuncturists, massage therapists, chiropractors, because looking for a great reflexologist, because I just think they're amazing for the nervous system. So that's the kind of where I fit into the health practitioners puzzle. Yeah.
I'll have to, I'll just ask around. I'm sure there'll be someone that I know that is a reflexologist.
That'd be good. Yeah, and if they're local, even better.
Yeah, I did Korean acupuncture first, and they use the hand as a map.
All right.
So the reflexologists use the sole of the foot as a map.
Yeah.
The Koreans use the hand as a map.
Yeah.
So it's similar, but it's
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I can find that out. So when you tell us about how you changed the way that you was living, where your habits, I should say, your habits that you had previously, and then you slowly changed them. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's been over a long period of time, right? Because I grew up, I grew up with this, but I rejected it, right? Because most kids do. And we honestly, my brother and sister, we thought my father was completely mad, right? We all thought he was crazy. So, in my 20s, we just rejected that. We all did. So at 29 was when I started my own journey, right? And because I had all that grounding, it didn't take me long. Like, I kind of knew the resources that were useful. So I don't know if you've heard of a woman by the name of Leslie Kenton. She's passed on now, but she wrote some fantastic books. And my very first book that I got was called Raw Energy. And that was all about bringing more plant-based foods, less cooked foods into your diet, right? And so I started at 29, and it took me, it's taken me quite a while, but the little things that I changed first was, and these are really important because you may not think of it when, you're as a nutrition coach, when you're talking nutrition, but the first things that I changed in my life was toxic chemicals in my house. Like, I just took them out of my, and as I learned more, I might have used bleach, and then someone said, oh, Vicki, that bleach is affecting, your lungs. Like, be careful with that, or whatever. I just eventually took all of those out. So that was number one. The water that I was drinking, it took me a while with that, but I moved from drinking tap water to, I'd buy water in bottles. Now I've got a reverse osmosis in my house. So, more vegetables, actually less fruit. I had to learn that one over the years because I was eating way too much fruit. I love fruit, and we can overdo fruit because of the sugars in it. It's really important in the diet, but I reduce that. So, it's 2 or 3 a day max, servings, more vegetables. And then eventually I moved away from meats that were commercially grown. So I'm very particular about the meat I eat and where it comes from, my eggs. And this is not easy when you're in a partnership, when you're married, right? Because your husband or your wife may not hold the same values. And it's,
you got to have 2 fridges. You got to have 2 fridges and 2 cupboards.
Well, this has been actually probably one of the hardest things, but I think I'm navigating it well now. But it's a lifetime thing. So, so you do have to find this balance in, how I want to eat compared to how my husband wants to eat. and not be. One of the things I learned from my father was, because he was extreme, and also it was his way or the highway kind of thing. I try very hard not to do that. Meet someone where they're at, and as I'm telling you, it was a process for me. I just want to help someone speed up that process, right? Like, it doesn't take 30 or 40 years, because I see a lot more health issues younger now than I think we used to see. Like, I meet people who are 20, 30 years younger than me, and they've got gut health issues. They've got autoimmune issues. And I think, wow, that none of that was around when I was in my 20s and 30s, or very little of it. You didn't know about it, didn't hear about it. So, but anyway, they're the things I do. And I eat a low gluten. I have an autoimmune disease. I have a thyroid related disorder. So I need thyroid medication for that. And that really changed how I live my life. That was, one of the things I didn't get in this health journey was the gut. I knew about the gut. Well, it wasn't actually, it's, that we know more about the gut now than we did 20 years ago. So that took me a while. I was eating way too much gluten. I was addicted to pasta. I was addicted to bread. Even though I was buying good quality foods, they were still not right for my body. And so I now very low gluten. I'm particular about, I pay extra money for gluten-free pastas and things. And, I pay extra money for my bread. Like, so I have a sourdough spelt bread, very low gluten. When you have an autoimmune, depending on which one you have, but for me, sleep is a non-negotiable, right? I need to get to bed. I can't overdo my days. That's one of the things I've learned in the last 12 months, actually. Because I'm someone who has a lot of interests. I'm involved in a lot of things. And I like to say, yeah, I'll do that. And you end up stacking your day so full and your week so full that I was crashing and burning. And also I get very uncreative because I didn't have enough space in my day. So that's another thing. In how I structure my week, I'm much more careful about what I say yes to. I'm learning to say no to things and giving my space and time in my day for relaxation, downtime, unplugging, all that sort of thing. Yeah. Does that help? Have I answered that question? I might have just rambled on a bit there. There's so many things.
Sit there, let's swing for a tree and we'll go on a tangent. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. But what was I going to say? Also, so you've had to adapt from what has happened to you over time, and using nutrition, like you just said, that to help with that, and also you've had to use conventional medicine as well to manage.
And what I didn't mention was what I didn't mention was supplements are a big part of that. And I started that 23 years ago. 23 years ago, I started taking high quality supplements on, and I've never stopped. So, fish oils, I supplement with fish oils, vitamin D. Vitamin D is very big for autoimmune, I find. Magnesium, a broad spectrum antioxidant mineral product. And now I'm getting into peptides and nitric oxide. So, learning all the time.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The body can be very complicated, but it's just a cascade. If you understand the cascade, when I say cascade, the system of those chemotactic factors and hormones that swim around, and what releases them, and also what influences them, because that's all it comes back to. Because
so true.
Medication only does two things: it either mimics something you produce, or it inhibits something you produce. That's all. So we are the ones that have the ability to change it naturally. We can do it. It is possible. We don't always need medication. Medication does help with certain things. But the problem with what I'm trying to say is that there is a problem with trying to replace something all the time. What do I mean by that? What'll happen is what was supposed to be producing what you're replacing it with will stop producing it.
Yeah.
So then when you come off the medication, then the body will
it takes
have
an
a long. It takes time for the body to adjust. We have to produce that again. Insulin is a perfect example. Insulin,
right?
Insulin, type 2 diabetes. They constantly take, but they take. It depends on what they're taking, but they eventually, what will happen eventually is they'll have to take insulin, and the problem with that is the pancreas will stop producing that insulin.
Yeah.
So then they become a type 1.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So type 1 means that your body just doesn't produce insulin anymore for whatever reason. And normally, that's what I'm trying to say, is long-term use of medication is, well, the problem is it causes another problem.
Yeah, and I think that's it, depending on what the need is, but it's great for short term, like, for dealing with a chronic situation, from an acute situation. But it really comes down to what the cells need to function properly. And that's not just food and micronutrients. It's also thoughts and rest and connection and
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's and that's what they've done with those documentaries with the blue zones, and they said that Japan, apparently they live longer over there, especially Osaka. Okinawa. I got it wrong. It's because they have such great community ties. They go and they go to their neighbor or the neighbor up the road, and they go and help them do their garden. They go and
different lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, it was like that for me as a kid. We would go to other people's places, even as a teenager. We'd go to other people's places and we'd help them out with whatever they put a post in the ground, or I don't know, build a fence or build part of their house. That's the way it used to be.
Yeah. Was that North Queensland? Where did you grow up in North Queensland?
No, Bris Vegas.
Oh, you grew up in Bris Vegas. Okay.
But it wasn't. What I'm trying to say is, now I wouldn't have a clue what the name.
Yeah, you've got to make an effort. Yeah. Yes, it's and it's tricky because we're all busy, right? And that's it. Yeah, that's one of my things. And because I know this as getting older, if you don't build those relationships now, it's so much harder at 80 and 90. So that's actually the next. That's the next thing that I'm looking at, is how do I build those relationships so I'm in a community that we all care about each other and we support each other.
Yeah.
And it takes effort and it takes time, right?
Absolutely. And like you said, we don't have time. We can't support a mortgage anymore with one wage.
Yeah, it is not easy. We are, and that's one of the things I'm getting to understand more, because I wouldn't have done this a year ago even. I don't think I wouldn't have been as aware about the nervous system. They use the word dysregulation, but just a nervous system that just never switches off, right? And I just realized how much more in my coaching to help people get a practice where they can, just support their nervous system, just bring yourself out of that flight and fight, because we don't even know we're in it. We have no idea that we're so elevated.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone yesterday, and we've been kind of working over the last probably over the last year, and he was just saying how he's switching from, his mood switches really quickly. Like, it'll be really, sometimes he's really happy, but most of the time he's just cranky at the kids and cranky at the wife, and he can see this. he can see how this is going to play out if he doesn't fix it, right? And one of the things is just being so elevated all the time with what's going on around the world. You know, if you're watching the news or if you're onto social media, and then you've got work, and then you've got money stress. You know, there's so many components. So we're not going to have any solutions to those things. We have to learn how to switch on our parasympathetic nervous system so we can, you know, just bring down this elevated, heightened that we don't even know we're in. So it's a chronic stress. Yeah, that's huge now, I think. Because, you know, it doesn't matter what you eat or what nutrition you take. If you're in this elevated all the time, you don't know it, you don't absorb anything.
I'll send you a video that explains it all. And I did a webinar on this, and basically
fantastic.
What happens is the adrenal glands, they sit above the kidneys and they spit out our stress hormones. Now, certain events can flip us into this continual cycle, continual dispersion of these three stress hormones: epinephrine, cortisol, and adrenaline. What are these events? Well, it can be a lot of things, but the number one I found in Australia is almost drowning. Because what happens is mum and dad takes you down to the seaside and says, go on, have a swimmy. You get out and you start to get a little bit more confident, and you're swimming out there, and then you get stuck in a rip and jungle. And then someone's got to go and pull you out, and it scares the living daylights out of you because you almost drown. So that's just one event. Okay, there's many different things that can do this. This is not just a military I went to war, saw some horrible things sort of scenario. This is something that it's an event that can scare the hell out of you. Now also, it can also be just, you know, living with someone on eggshells all the time. That can do it too. Like alcoholic parents, for instance. Not even just both of them, just one of them. Because you come home and you don't know what's going to happen. Nothing ever happens, but
you don't know.
You're always on edge. You're always worried that something's going to happen. So you see what I'm saying? And then it flips you into this fight or flight. You can't stop. You go. Because what happens is you have this subliminal fear that's always there. And to combat the subliminal fear, you go and do stuff. That's what happens. These people, and I'd say 1 in 6 Australians have got it. They don't even know they got it. Why? Because conventional medicine, number one, doesn't know how to diagnose it. They have a questionnaire. You got to fill out a questionnaire. So there's no blood test. There's no what do you call it? It's all symptomology, basically. So that it's so subjective. That's why they don't really understand how to diagnose it. And number two is they have no idea how to reverse it. So this is where Chinese medicine is exceptional, because the pulse, I feel the radial artery, that artery tells me what's going on internally, and it tells me straight away whether you've got this excessive amounts of stress hormones running around your bloodstream.
That's it. The body is always talking to you. It's always telling you.
That's why the pulse is so important, because it tells me straight away what's wrong. 5 minutes. But you're right. You're exactly right. There are a lot of people being affected by it, and like I said, they don't even know they've got it.
No.
Because they've been constantly in this cycle of go, and then they physically crash and bang, and then they're out for a half a day. These are the people that break their leg and then go to work that afternoon. You're sitting in the office and you're like, didn't you break your leg this morning? Yeah, but I got things to do.
It's right. It's rushing back after, and actually, you know, this is the same with even just the common cold, right? When people go back too soon, like, we don't realize the impact that virus has had on the heart. You know, you go back into full-on exercise, you know. So
this is a saying that they'll say, I have no time to be sick.
Oh, well, let's everybody just take a little bit more care of our bodies. You know, they need a bit of a TLC quite often, every day.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, that comes back to what you were saying, is listening to what your body says, and
Well, if you can't
but
hear it, you know, if you're not actually, it makes sense, but often we don't know. We actually don't know. So we do need to seek out people who can give us an indication. Because I remember going to an acupuncturist once who said, geez, your pulse is, it's very elevated. I had no idea, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, that is such a fantastic, that's why we need to make sure that we do checkups, we see people, we bring in, I like to call it, you know, surrounding yourself with your, like, this is the health portfolio. You're the CEO of your health, and you need to have certain people employed in your employment that you pay to keep you well.
Well, it's a bit, I don't want to use this analogy, but I don't like to, but it's similar to being the CEO of a huge corporation.
Yeah, exactly. It is exactly that, because you are the corporation, right?
Yeah, that's, I don't like saying that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm a business. I was going to say, yeah, the CEOs don't get into the position they are without a great network around them.
Well, all good companies have good people that advise them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They got good advisors.
Yeah, and it's the same for yourself. You need. The problem is, but we're taught that we need to go and see the GP. He or she knows exactly what's wrong with us, and that they'll figure it out very quickly. Bum.
Yeah, and you know, I like to I think having a good GP is really important. Actually, I've lucky I've had 2 in the last lot of years, and I am very, very grateful. However, they're not the end. They give me advice, whether I take it or not. I use my own wisdom, intuition, and knowledge for that, right? So I let them help me get the blood test results, help me interpret the blood test results, listen to what advice they have, and then I go, let me think about that. Yeah. And I've educated my doctor to say, she says to me, what does she say? She said, I might tell you what I think you should do, but I won't make you do it. And I went, you know me now, like, you're not going to make me, because it's not going to happen, right? If it doesn't sit well with me, it's not going to happen. But I thank her for her advice and her knowledge, right, and her training. Yeah. But I see it as they're working for me. You're working for me. That's
absolutely.
Yeah, this is about me, not you. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
They're a coach. Really, that's what they are. They're a coach. They're supposed to give you advice.
Or technical advisor, maybe. You know, they're quite technical, and they can tell you about medications and what have you.
Consult.
But yeah,
consult. A consult.
Yeah. All right.
And so we've done pretty well. We're up to 43 minutes. So tell us how have you helped people in the past with these strategies that you have in place?
So I really like to work with women who, like for me, I was around 39 when I started to get these really annoying, niggly, chronic conditions. And so I like to work with women 30, you know, like late 30s, 40, early 40s onwards, and women who, and men, of course, because I do work with men, who just know they just know something's not right. They're just not feeling 100%. They're usually very busy. They're driven. They're very capable. And they're like, you know, I just feel like I don't have the energy that I used to have. You know, I'm putting on weight, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of my niche, because I've helped myself through that. And so what I do is I either work one-on-one So one-on-one coaching to identify what the goals are, what are the issues, and then we can just do the coaching, or I can bring in certain supplements and products, or I have 2 online programs which are a life, you can do them at any time, all the time. You keep, and for me, repetition in this area is so important. You just keep doing it, you improve, you fall off the wagon, you get back on again, and you just keep, because we can't do everything all at once. It's impossible. It is a process of bringing in things that help sustain us and help give us joy. And like I said, I don't want to be deprived. I love food. I am an absolute lover of food. And I like to eat really good food. So I like to have things, but I don't, what some person, their love is, anyway, you can learn to have those things in moderation if they're things that, upset the hormonal system or spike the blood sugar. So I teach all around low glycemic eating. Yes, and I do that through programs and coaching. So
awesome. Have you got another one quickly? Got another testimonial for us? Testimonial?
Well, let me just think about that. I've been working with a woman she's kind of towards the later, she's in her 70s. And this is interesting because we've touched on this a little bit, but the emotional element to our health. Yeah. And she's exceptional at, doing certain things. She has made such improvements in her way of living and diet. And she's done that through, we always touch base all the time. She comes to me for direction and advice. And, she's got multiple health problems now that she's getting later into her 70s. But she looks fantastic. And she says, Vicki, I would probably not be here if, she may have not made it to that point because she's got some serious health complications. But what we worked out, and I've been aware of, but she's only just come her awareness now because she's ready, is an emotional element to what's happening. There's something in her family that causes her a deep level of stress, and that's creating inflammation in the body. So the next thing to do is start working on, really she needs to work with a psychotherapist in terms of managing that relationship and how you can't fix somebody, but how you manage that. So it's just that we've been working together for a long time, and now she's at this stage. Well, that's the next step, right? So, I've had quite a few people go through my Sexy Fit Nutrition program. That's a program that I run in conjunction with the woman who she created. I didn't create it, but the creator of it is a nutrition coach and lifestyle expert. And when people go through that 5-week program and they do it correctly, it's amazing of the shifts in hormonal balance. So, one woman who was having very, very heavy periods, they just dissipated, right?
Yeah.
And having cravings at night, like really, that's when she was eating late at night, gone. People with coffee addictions, reduce. So there's change can happen quickly if you follow certain steps. You can do it. You don't have to take a lifestyle. It's just keeping on it. And that's why I like having a program that you can come back to at any time. You keep redoing it because this stuff, it has to become a habit, and it takes a while for a habit to become. So I'm so happy to work with people over and over again, and those programs are in coaching.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'll just interrupt. We've got Northside Hawk. That's Dominic. He's through another network. I know he's from Melbourne. He's saying hello.
Hey.
So, g'day, mate. How are you?
Hey, Northside Hawk.
Dominic. Yeah, Dominic. Yeah. So thanks very much for tuning in, brother. So yeah, I'll go on to the third question because we're up to 50 minutes. Well done.
Oh my goodness, we've got a third question.
So tell us what idea. Who's you sort of already answered this question, but who's your ideal client? Who's the person you like to help the most?
Yeah, it's that person who is ready to do the changes, who's ready to commit. They're not sure what they need to do. They're overwhelmed. They just need a pathway forward, and are prepared to. They're really on a scale of 1 to 10. They're an 8 or above to make changes. They're ready. That's who I like to work with mostly, and they'll get the most benefit from it. But if people just want to have, a discovery call, that's a 15-minute free call, just to talk about it. Are they ready? They may not be. That's okay. But they might be. So, and if I'm not the person for them, then I'm sure I'll know someone who is. They'll point them in the right direction because. Like people come to me all the time and say, I've got this, that, and the other. I go, you need to go and see a sleep doctor. That's the first thing you should do. Sort out the sleep issue.
And that's the website there at the base, huh?
They have to email me. I've got to get a calendar up. That's my next thing to work on. Yeah. But you can send me a message through there, reach out. I'm absolutely open to having a 15-minute chat. Okay. And let's work out we can do something for each other.
It's the same with this one. Obviously they can contact you through the LinkedIn.
Yeah, I have to say, give me some grace with social media because I don't always see them, and I don't know whether it's a tech glitch because they might take 24 to 48 hours. I know someone's been trying to connect with me on Facebook, and I know I saw it 2 days ago, and then I finally found it again today, and I thought, because she's actually going through the Sexy Fit program again, so I'm going to coach her through that program, provide her, as a support person. So please, a little bit of grace. I will get back to you as soon as I can, but email is best.
All right, man. And I'll go on to the last question. So what ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity? This is another one you've sort of already answered.
Yeah. Well, actually, honestly, it's that nervous system. That's number one now. I think learning how to disconnect, get into nature, dancing, move your state of energy, breathing, box breathing. But, I would just say this, Scott. My father I'm going to live to 120 years, right? And he had this longevity goal. He got to 91, and then I said, well, gosh, you nearly made, like what happened to the 120? And he said, did you really believe me? I said, yeah, I did believe you. I thought you'd make it.
Absolutely.
So for me, actually, it's not about length of time because your time might go, there might be other things. It's to me is about how you live now, how enjoyable life is now, and those lifestyle habits and the way you live your life. So what is left on those days, that might extend them, but actually they're richer and fuller and more enjoyable, and you're not in pain and suffering. So, the knees not stopping you from walking, or the hips aren't stopping you from being more active. So that's all about little lifestyle habits, reducing blood sugar spikes, reducing inflammation in the body, and just having enjoyment and fun and connection. So that's my goal personally, and for others. It's kind of like I guess my mission is to keep you out of the nursing home for as long as possible. Yeah. So you can live life right up to the end and then just fall off the perch. You just fall off. You don't have this long lingering, I have a long life, but it's long lingering for the last 10 years of it. That's not fun. That's not living life, which is why my business is called Live Life. It's about live it to the very end.
Yeah, that's why I call this podcast Get Busy Living.
I love it. It's so perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much for Vicki for coming on. We appreciate it. That there was some words of wisdom there, some gold nuggets. I did get some as well. So thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, you can get in contact with her through LinkedIn. There it is there, and also Facebook. And this is Vicki's website as well. So please get in contact with her through there as well. Now, because you didn't bag me too much today, Vicki, and you were
God, I didn't know I was allowed to.
well, you know next time, okay?
Yeah.
Because you didn't bag me too much, there you go. You get access to my health club. So I've got a similar as what to you. So I've got 9 modules. I teach you about EFT, information freedom technique, meditation, nutrition, exercise, roadblocks in your mind, disc profiling, who you are, acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, and the 8 leading chronic diseases which are killing hundreds of thousands of Australians every year, and the numbers are getting worse. Yeah. So I would love to hear your feedback from that. So you get that free for 30 days. It would normally cost $11. So yeah, thank you. It's all my VA will give you the virtual assistant.
Great, thank you.
Access to that, and also to the platforms as well. Also the platforms as well on the podcast. So
you're doing great.
So you can advertise.
Scott. Thank you.
And same for you. Same to you. Very, very much so, Vicki. So thank you so much for coming on. All right, guys, you've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Vicki Parker, and I'm Dr. Scott from 6 Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club. Have a fantastic day, guys.